So now that Godzilla vs. Kong is out, this seemed like the perfect opportunity to take a look back at its predecessor film, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Imagine that, a pop culture icon getting its sequel before the crossover film. Makes you wonder where that Man of Steel Part 2 has been. 8 years running? Come on, Superman, what's the holdup? More powerful than a locomotive but can't carry your own franchise? Something smells fishy if you ask me. Sounds like a job only Clark Kent can get to the bottom of. If you think about it...
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Oh, I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it!
The movie opens with a temple complex dedicated to the first monster on the menu. And, oh, look at her. Look at that cutie face. The temples really grounded this movie. I thought it was interesting showing shrines devoted to these beasts because it hinted at a world where the only way that we as humans could coexist with these larger-than-life titans was to serve them through worship. I thought that was a nice touch. Monarch is the organization that researches these life forms, and it was great to see that they have a rival terrorist organization as the human antagonists of the film. It was a much appreciated inclusion and a very early plot twist. One addition that I initially enjoyed was the usage of a device called the Orca, used to communicate with the monsters. As I said, initially. Because they went to the well one too many times with this instrument until they ran it right into the ground. Having an apparatus that reproduces the sounds of these creatures in order to interact with them not only creates a literal plot device, but basically introduces a Fisher-Price See-and-Say toy in a Godzilla movie?
This is a dog.
The Farmer Says, a See-and-Say talking toy by Mattel Preschool.
The cow says...
The Atomic Monster says... The overrated heroine says...
Dracarys.
Pow! Right in the blonde privilege. Move over, Firecrotch. There's a new dragon on the scene, and this town ain't big enough for the botch of you. Bitch of you? Both of you? In a time of overdone summer blockbusters drenched in computer effects, not to mention the continued decline of the film series that redefined both in the Jurassic Park films, it's genuinely refreshing for a movie like this to come along and actually give weight to these appropriately named titans. It doesn't look like special effects puppet versus illusion of movie magic monster. The presentation of the creatures where they're erupting from volcanoes or emerging from glacial ice is something that's truly epic. There's a scene where an approaching monster is within a storm, and that's exactly how these larger-than-life terrors should be portrayed. This was a disaster movie that isn't brain dead like that 2012 movie or The Day After Tomorrow. No. These monsters are the approaching disasters, true forces of nature. It is when Monarch traveled to the Antarctic facility that not only is Ghidorah awakened to do battle with Godzilla, but it is revealed that the scientists abducted in the temple where Mothra was held was working with the terrorists all along and planned the attack on that base. Shock. Horror. Looking back on having organized an ambush on a facility by armed terrorists where her own daughter was held, it kinda makes her reprehensible. Kinda. The initial monsters brawl made for a pretty good opening bout. Even though Godzilla got knocked down and missed his atomic breath, I'm giving this round to him by forfeit after Ghidorah bailed. Like a punk. This reveal was soon to be outdone by that of the fire demon, and was a great juxtaposition between ice and fire. The Rodan Awakening was really well done, and I didn't think it could get any better until the chase scene immediately after. I won't spoil it, but I personally found it to be genuinely tense. When I saw one poor jet pilot bail right into Rodan's waiting mouth, first thought, hey, they got that from the Avengers. Second thought, that was kind of cool. Sadly, one thing that took away from the grandeur was when you'd have 5 people in a room that react to a discovery and each of them finishes the other's sentence. I find that cheesy and unnecessary. With these types of films, it always amuses me how people say characters don't matter. Obviously, they're not the draw of the film, but that doesn't give them license to be boring or annoying. Which brings us to Stranger Things over here. Millie Bobby Brown suffers from Elijah Wood syndrome, where the older they get, the more they resemble the opposite gender. How much longer before she grows an Adam's apple? Or acting talent? In a letter to Hollywood, Dear Hollywood, stop putting kids in monster movies. Can it work? Of course. Aliens, The Shining, 2017 Stephen King's It. All had kids in it, but it's when you have annoying children or they're operating complicated equipment that pulls me right out of the film. The kids from the first Jurassic Park movie check both of those boxes. The addition of a child in this film, and especially the girl from Stranger Things, was just unnecessary. Instead of 11, she should go by question mark. The comedy in this movie doesn't work at all. It's no secret that humor can warm an audience up to a film, it's part of a movie's enjoyment, and can endear the fans to a particular character. However, when the comedy just does not land, and said character continues his amateur hour humor, suffice it to say that it can repel viewers, or what I refer to as the Carlos Mencia effect.
White people, wherever you go, you're white. Even in Canada, you're white. How cool is that? You know, you come here, you're white. You go to LA, you're white. You go to Houston, you're white. You go to Denver, you're white. Chicago, you're white. Miami, you're still white. I go to Miami, I'm not Mexican anymore. No, I'm Cuban.
Cringe. There's one character in the film who you may remember as the white father from that overhyped Drek Get Out that tries to play comedic relief and fails every time.
Open the shields. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's bring him in for a beer. You out of your goddamn mind? That's how he moves around so fast, using these underwater tunnels like wormholes, just like zipping around.
Everyone look sharp.
My God. Zilla.
The only funny moment with him is when he's told to shut up by another character.
I knew I was right. I told you, Ken.
Shut up, Rick.
Moving on. The creature designs and fights in this movie are top-notch. There's no reason why Mothra should look as good as she does, especially in a movie with a 3-headed dragon, a pterodactyl, and a mutant dinosaur. But, much to the film's credit, she not only looks great, giving a different feel to the more monstrous beasts, but she actually holds her own in the battles. So in the second showdown between dinosaur and dragon, Godzilla does indeed go down for the count, but does manage to take one of Ghidorah's heads as a trophy. It's here that now the terrorists awaken all Titans across the world. With these prehistoric creatures now set to retake the world, the scientist trader realizes only now that her plot to kill millions takes a turn for the genocidal because it results in the deaths of millions. What a twist? Having tracked down Godzilla to find him in a weakened state, Dr. Serizawa sacrifices himself with the detonation of a nuclear weapon.
Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
Whatever.
Nuclear.
Why it gotta be Serizawa and not the annoying comedy relief? This shot of anabolic radiation is exactly what the King of the Monsters needs to get back in the fight, and have his gold medals taken away from him due to performance enhancement drug usage. Realizing that she has to take matters into her own hands, Millie Bobby Boring takes the orca in order to sing sweet lullabies to the other Titans, but also draws the attention of King Ghidorah. Good thing the plot device remained unguarded within a terrorist stronghold to the point that a child could jack it while waltzing right out of their headquarters. In the final fight, they have what is quickly becoming a stereotype where the woman rescues the men, only to end up with a realistic cliche where the woman crashes the car immediately after she's handed the car keys.
It's science.
Not only does Godzilla throw down with Ghidorah in round 3, but Rodan takes on Mothra. Getting the upper hand on the fire demon, the Queen of the Monsters makes the mistake of taking on Ghidorah head-on, but her death is not in vain as her angel dust gives Godzilla a second adrenaline shot, which is enough for him to overdose on radioactive juice and lay waste to his dragon nemesis. Much like how 2017's Justice League came out, sucked, made no impact, and 5 months later we were full steam ahead on a real superhero movie with Infinity War, King of the Monsters exposes monster mash trash like Pacific Rim and Cloverfield as forgettable wannabes. So, in conclusion, I wholeheartedly recommend this movie. It's not strictly horror, but does deal with monsters, and was an enjoyable popcorn film.
The pig goes wank. The cow goes shazoo.
It most certainly does not.
The rooster goes kikriki.
Where? Where does the rooster say that?
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.